Oh, darlings. You know those like days where you're just like, really? This is happening? Okay, there's some serious drama going on with the contractors that were working on my garage earlier this week. And I plan on sharing this story with you, but when I've got a little bit more details. Today, I am taking these girls to the vet. You and I are going to a village nearby called Mont to also talk about two things. France's defamation law. Do you know about this? And also a warning to tourists and those moving here about allergies. So let's get started with our day. You ready, Pearl? Villages like this are not for the faint of heart, like Dinan as well. They are on a hillside, and so be sure to wear comfortable shoes that have a lot of grip on the bottom, because it's Brittany and it rains, and these cobblestones and streets get very slippery. So did I wear that? Did I follow my own advice? No. There are lots of little side streets and things here, but not a lot of shops. I cannot find a better Queen Amman so far in Côte d'Armor than this place. They make the best Queen Amman. What is that? For those who are not, well, these are Breton specialties, right? Gaillettes. Second one down, Queen. It sounds like Queen. It's the best way I can say it. Amman, Far Breton. All of these are like local specialties. Un chi pour moi, c'est pour moi un chi. Oui, mais on fera ouais. Ça après. Pour l'instant, je fais tout et puis vous me direz. Oui. Should we go look in this? See what we can find. Nope. You can actually smell the incense coming off of this. Wow.
Me encantan ellos. Ay, mi amor. No. Pero
This is the square where they do their weekly farmers markets. All right, defamation law. This is not, I'm certainly not an expert on this, but I want to kind of share a different perspective. Basically, again, this is just my opinion, right? My experience. But my question is that if with this in place, is there a possibility that people withhold information and experiences and don't share it, say, like on Google reviews because of this law? Working theory, just like my farmer's market one I shared last week. Right. So defamation law is basically where a person in public or in private says something dishonorably or in negative consideration of another person or business. Okay. But what does that mean exactly? Right. The gist of it that I get, my takeaway is that basically you just can't speak poorly about anybody or a business if, somebody without proof, right? And I get that. But here's the catch. If let's say that it's just a general case, you can be fined up to 12,000 euros. If you're convicted of defamation. If it's of a person of authority, or if it's racial or discriminatory, up to 45,000 euros. So the question is like, Okay, let's do it in the case of a restaurant. All right. Let's say that you ate out at a restaurant and you got food poisoning. But how do you prove that? You're not really sure. I mean, there's actually no like physical evidence that you have that you got that, sick from what you ate, right? Right? Are other people sharing it? I don't know. So sometimes when I see, especially somebody French who leaves a review on Google reviews, I kind of question like, okay, they must have had a really poor experience to take this trouble to go online and share that. Because again, at what point does sharing an experience like that, my own personal perspective, no different than what I'm doing here, become defamation? It seems to me a fine line because again, it's something that dishonors or negative consideration. Of course, I'm going to negatively consider a doctor, a place of business, things like that, if there's a lot of bad reviews. But do some people perhaps withhold information because of this particular law? I don't know. Maybe if you have experience in this, you can post it down in the comments below. It's an interesting concept, though, right? Something to think about. The church is closed today, but I think I have old footage of the inside of this. The stained glass in this is from the 15th century, I believe. Okay, now let's shift gears real quick and talk about allergies. The girls and I are leaving next week on a trip, and every time the further south I go in France, the more allergies they have. There's just a lot of different grasses and trees down there, and it really is no different for humans. This is a tip and suggestion for those who are both traveling and moving to this country. Let me talk about that. It started pouring down rain. So I'm going to show you some of the stained glass inside the church while I'm telling you about the allergy thing. So bottom line, my husband has allergies and he suffers through that a lot. And I see this happen every single year. People come over and travel or they move here and they don't think about the upcoming allergy season and how different things are here, like completely different plants, trees from where your home country is. And it's difficult, one, to get OTCs, over the counter medications, that have the same strength as OTCs, say back in the States. And the second thing is like bring your prescription with you, especially through an entire season if you're moving here, because it can take a long time to get in with an allergist. Plus, you're going through immigration. So it's just give yourself all of the benefit of the doubt that you're not going to be impacted by this trip by not having the proper supplies that you need to enjoy being in France during the spring and summertime. So there you have it. There's my PSA. And if you have questions, let me know. Okay. I'm tired of dodging rainstorms. And it's actually kind of cold and windy out today. So I'm going to go home and start a fire and get back to work. I hope you thought some of these topics were interesting. And I also hope you have a really fun weekend, maybe something fun planned. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. Oh my goodness, you guys are blowing up my YouTube video. So, woo! Merci beaucoup. More to come, darlings. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go to the beach. Okay. See what I'm talking about? Everybody leaves to go have lunch somewhere. I don't know. It's just my experience, but I just don't see a lot of French picnicking a lot. They just leave to go have lunch at home or go to a restaurant. And so you end up with the entire place to yourself. So one thing I really want you guys to do is when you go to a new beach that you haven't been to, look at the Google reviews. Make sure that if there's any safety concerns that people have reported about, that you know what they are. And always check the tides, because I've made that mistake before. This whole coastline right here, there's like little pockets. Let me show you where I'm at right now. See all these nice little pockets you can kind of tuck yourself into for picnicking, protection from the wind. The water comes all the way up to this point. It doesn't even look like it, because that's how far the tidal swing is here. In fact, this coastline has one of the biggest tidal swings annually, year-round, in all of Europe. So I made the mistake of not checking the tides before coming out here, and we were going to get stuck. The water was coming up. It comes in super quick, and we had no choice but to hike back along this ridge. There's a path up there called the GR. Are you my little sand flea? So don't make my mistake. Check the tide tables before you come to the beach. Maybe show up a little bit before low tide, and then you'll have the most time here without worrying about any issues like that. Unless you want to go swimming. And people around here go swimming year round, especially the seniors. They're starting to get tired, and it's now 1 p.m. So we've got about half hour, 45 minutes before people start showing back up after their lunch. So what I'm going to do is up over here is it's Sunday. It's a cute, tiny stone church that they now use as a gallery. We'll go up there. I'll show you the view from up there. I don't think it's going to be open, but who knows? And then I'll show you the GR trail system and share some more tips and tricks that I have for when you visit the beach in France. So the ocean is right around the corner where we just came in at. This is the tide line. Can you see how far up it comes? All the way up here. So there are stations like this to put debris that you find from the ocean, but oftentimes you don't actually see garbage cans, so you need to be prepared to take out what you bring in. We're fenced off these days, but obviously people can easily jump the fence and do. So I'm going to work us back along the GR trail system, just show you a little bit what it's like so you know what to expect. I would not suggest this for people with mobility issues. It's a fun loop. This is stinging nettle, for those who aren't familiar, and it grows like crazy out here. So if you have young ones or pets with you, do not let them go off the path, otherwise they're going to be in for a bit of a surprise. Well, darlings, I really hope you enjoyed your afternoon at the beach with me and the girls, of course. I'm gonna head home now and do some month-end reporting and get ready for phone calls with family and friends. I wish you a beautiful bon dimanche. Have a great Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Every time I wear this coat, I wonder, do I just really look like Barney? All right, darlings. So what we're going to do is we are going to take the girls for a walk. I'm going to talk to you about things that you should know, like what to look for if you are going to buy a house in rural France. Okay, these are things that you need to know about. And we're going to go into town for a little bit and I'll show you around. Okay, bisous. All right, so here's your first word of the day, abattoir. The other one. What is an abattoir? Well, this is one of the few things that I want you guys to look out for when you're considering a property in rural France. An abattoir is a slaughterhouse. And, to my knowledge, I don't know of any slaughterhouses I've been around or near in the States. Slaughterhouses in France can be like literally your next door neighbor. And I'm not kidding you. The sounds are horrific. The smells, the process throughout the year, the flies, it's nothing you want near your house. So be very careful. I'm talking about pretty far away. You don't want any abattoirs near you. Come on. Fields like this are pretty idyllic in the spring, but you may not realize when you're not here during farming season what grows here. Now, all around my house, it is literally every other year corn and wheat. Corn and wheat. This year is corn year, but they haven't started preparing the fields for it yet. They're just getting into that right now. Come on, Poogie. Come on. It's really important that you know what they're farming and what their farming practices are. Some of these fields will come right up next to your house if they're using pesticides, chemicals. Perhaps they're growing something that you might be allergic to. It's really good to know who's farming what near the house that you are considering. Last week we talked about the chasse. Well, that could also be another problem. If that hunter doesn't work with his dogs to train them not to bark, that can really cause an issue in regards to sound and noise. So know if you've got a hunter nearby, somebody who kennels a lot of dogs, and inquire with the local neighbors in regards to noise levels. Thankfully, my neighbor, Denny, he has trained all of his dogs not to bark, so it's very rare that I hear them. Okay, here we go. Seasonal livestock can also create problems with smells and flies. What you're going to look for in nearby pastures are signs like this. Thankfully, I have just a horse, Utim, or I call Izzy, who lives on my pasture part of the summer, and a neighbor who has calves who hang out a little bit every year. Thankfully, my neighbors, they just don't really raise a lot of livestock right in the immediate area around my house. For those of you who have watched me for a while, Utim, who I call Izzy, is a draft horse that comes and hangs out on my lower pasture during the summer months. And one of my neighbors has young cows for a little bit, but they don't seem to create a lot of problems. But a lot of livestock near your house definitely can create a lot of smells and flies just in the right months where you want to open up all the windows. If you don't speak French very well, or you're new to the area and you don't know anybody to ask these questions, because again, estate agents, there's not a buyer's agent role. So relying on their information isn't always the most reliable resource. I wouldn't suggest that. Their job is to sell the property on behalf of the seller. So they're in it to win it. The best suggestion that I have for you is to work with the mairie, the mayor's office. It's a public service space, and their job is to help the residents and citizens in the area. Well, most mayor's offices have an email address that you can communicate with, and it's a great way to start. You're not going to get your best results off of email. here in France. Going in person, even if you print out a letter and have everything translated in advance, going in person is important. You can drop off that letter and work with the mayor's office to get some of the information that you need. Views like this are so beautiful in France, but it's another reason to contact your mairie. Some of them are selling off land to energy companies for windmill farms. The next thing I want you to look for are the area hospitals and ambulance services. Let me explain why. Ambulance services are private, so you need to know how close they are to the property, how many you have to choose from, and the same goes for hospitals. You need to know how many are nearby, how far away are they, what services do they offer, do they even offer urgent care, and are they experiencing any sort of staffing issues? For everyday care, you'll also want to know if the property is located in one of France's medical deserts. Last but not least, you're going to want to know these three words and work with the mairie on a cadastre plan, bornes, and geometre. So this is a ruin on my property at the top of my rose garden. A cadastre plan is basically a plat map of your property. The roses are all coming along, aren't they? And I had a geomet come out and place bornes on the property because I only had the cadastre and wasn't really sure exactly where legally the property line was. This is an old ruin that once we uncover it, we're going to attempt to rebuild part of it. Bornes are legal. Cadastre plans, though, can be misinterpreted. Your mairie is going to have the most recent on-record cadastre plan, but sometimes there's like right-of-ways, easeways, sort of old agreements between neighbors that aren't apparent on the cadastre. So if you're ever worried about who has the rights to what, first know if there's actual geomet bornes in place. Those are legal. And once they're in place, they cannot be moved. Legally, it's illegal to move the born. And once they're in place, there's no disagreeing. It's sort of like getting a lawyer involved, and it's final. So if you have any concerns about maybe moving a fence or doing some improvements or who has right to what, consider a geomet. It's a bit of an investment, but it's permanent. And now you know exactly what your property lines, where they are and what you can do. All right, darlings, I've got another tip for you. I am about headed into town to get my nails done. And one of my favorite apps in France to find good nail techs and hairstylists is called Planety. It is an app that you can download for your phone, and you can read reviews, search for techs, direct through the app, book them through there. It's really easy. I found my best people through there. And and if you're curious, I use this brand OPI. It's called Baby Take a Vow. That is the color that I put on my nails. So let's go into town and I will show you around a little bit. And we're going to stop in at a really pretty florist next door too. Oops, my head must be up in the clouds because I forgot that I was going in on a Monday. I usually go in on Fridays and everything was closed. So here is a sweet little video of the lavoir down on the river, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bonjour, darlings. So today's activity requires a little bit of a backstory, so I apologize, but it's not going to make much sense what we're going to do if I don't explain it to you. So Mont Michel is not very far from my house, and there's an abbey, if you're not familiar, at the top, and it's still an active monastery. There are 4 brothers that live there and 6 sisters. There is also another convent out near my house, and the Mont Saint Michel sisters like to come out to this convent to get away for the weekend. recently the Mont Michel sisters put together a cookbook. It's so sweet. And they ran out. They sold out. And Sister Claire Annelle was visiting, and we were talking about her cookbook. And they recently had a whole new run of books made available. They sent it to Sister Krista here. And so Krista has invited me to come up and see the book. So that's what we're going to do during our lunch break today, is run up there and hang out with Sister Krista and check out the Mont Michel Abbaye Sisters cookbook. I just picked this bouquet of tulips from my garden for Sister Krista. And we're going to walk up there now. It's supposed to rain today, so we'll see. This is going to be really hard for me to share, but do you remember just a few days ago, I was talking about what is served out here for lunch, and I mentioned my neighbor who makes a really good moule marinier, and he is considers himself a home chef. Well, I crossed paths with his wife, Lillian, on the way down to the convent, and she said that Philippe got into a huge accident, horrible accident at work, and he suffered a massive stroke. The doctors really, they don't know how he's possibly alive. It was that bad. They actually had to remove part of his skull. This is so horrible. He's completely paralyzed, and again, they don't understand how he's possibly still alive. He's a miracle. He's trying to talk, but this news is absolutely horrific I couldn't even barely process this on the way to the Abbey. So perhaps if you could keep Philippe and his family in your thoughts today, that would be amazing. Thank you. Et dans l'intérieur? Wow, c'est le tissu?
C'est le tissu de l'habit des sœurs. C'est tellement beau, il y a plein de jolies images du Mont Saint-Michel et de leur vie un peu. Et après, il y a des recettes selon les saisons, pour le printemps, pour l'été, pour l'automne-hiver.
Et cet livre disponible en ligne ou non?
Pas en ligne, mais on peut aussi l'envoyer.
D'accord. Je pense pas international parce que c'est trop cher.
Ah oui, pour l'international,
oui.
C'est cher. Oui. Ça coûte 28 €.
Ah, c'est mignon.
C'est trop beau, non?
Ah, j'adore, c'est très beau. Alors, c'est... Ah,
il y a vraiment des très très jolies. Et puis les recettes apparemment sont très bonnes. Simples à faire et très bonnes aussi. C'est vraiment... Voilà.
Non, mais là on a fait... Vous avez trouvé oui. Comme il connaissait...
J'ai pas eu le temps de lui demander. Voilà, c'est un peu l'arrière boutique. Hop, la réserve.
Let me explain real briefly what you're looking at. This particular room has 2 different beds in it. Usually most sisters have just one bed, and where this one is at, there's a stair that goes up to the next level. There are normally 2 levels. This is a little closet.
Up on the second level is a space for them to eat and pray and work. And this is their shower. They step up into this basin. They also do their laundry there, and a view onto the garden.
So they had an extra copy that I could purchase. I was having a conversation with her if they ship internationally, and they don't. But I thought it might be kind of fun for us to pick up some of these recipes and maybe make them together this spring and summer. So let me know if that interests you, and we can kind of learn what some of the sisters make at the Abbaye Mont Michel. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Squeeze your loved ones tight. Good morning. All right, grab a cup of coffee with me. I want to talk to you about a few things. I need your help in making a few decisions. I have books to share with you. I want to talk about Philippe a little bit more. I also have the Contractor story to share with you. And we're going to talk about the road trip we're about to take. So let's get into it. First, for those of you watching this on YouTube, I post these weekly vlogs, but daily on Instagram stories. So a lot of people responded about Philippe. And I really appreciate all of your kind messages and everything that you shared. Do know that within reason, I will try to let you know what's going on while we're on our road trip. I don't know what to expect. But that leads me to asking for your help in making a decision. Lillian's mother moved in this last year. She's from Spain. She is, oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. I hope I get to introduce you to her. And she is just vibrant and so intelligent, had an amazing career, and she speaks perfect English. And yet she's out here in the countryside. She can't drive. And with everything going on with Lillian and Philippe, I thought it might be of help. Tell me what you think about this idea. It might be helpful for me to have her over for tea, or maybe take her out, because Lillian is obviously going to be so preoccupied. I have these really sweet, look at this. I found this at Abbaye Grenier. Isn't that really cute? Super springy. And this is one of the decisions I want your help with. I found this at Abbaye Grenier for €5. It's Limoges. Isn't that so pretty? I think I have something inside of it. Yeah, I have spoons. And look at these forks I found also. So what I want to do is invite her over for tea, just to get to know me a little bit better. We've spent a little bit of time together, but not as much as I'd like. And use some of these fun things. So tell me what you would put in this. I think it's like supposed to be for soup. I'm not really sure. But maybe some cut fruit. She doesn't eat much. The other thing, like I have these linens with this sweet little lavender on it. So I thought it'd be kind of fun maybe also to make like a lemon pound cake, something that a lot of people would like. So if you have ideas or recipes, let me know. But that's my idea for when I come back from this road trip, to maybe help their family out, because it's not really evident. I'm sure there'll be more opportunity, but that's the thing that I felt like was approachable and easy for me to offer. So the cookbook yesterday. I have other books to share with you, but this is the cookbook that we were all talking about yesterday. So many of you were really interested in this. This is again a cookbook published by the sisters at the Abbaye Mont Michel. And I found it for you to buy online. It only comes in French, and it's available on Amazon France, not Amazon.com.
Amazon France. So I'll put the link in the description of YouTube again, and also in the Instagram story. So there is that. I do plan on making some of these recipes, versions of them, and we can cook together this spring and summer. So that leads me into some other book recommendations for you. This is going to date me. This was published once in 1995, and I absolutely love this book. I double checked. It is still available on Amazon.com, and it is the best muffin cookbook ever. You can see how often I've used this. The pages are well worn, but at the beginning, she goes into a technique, she being Marie Simmons, on how she creates her muffin mastery. It is no joke. Every single time you use her recipes to the letter, they come out so M-word. They come moist. They come out just so perfect. And there's every single recipe in this is so good. I love it because also it's muffins A to Z, because it is literally and one for each alphabet. So A has almond crumb cake muffins, orchard apple oatmeal muffin. It's just everywhere. But she's got some savory ones in here too. Her jalapeno cheddar corn muffins. Oh, they're so good with chili. So that is, this book has been my go-to, continues to be my go-to. This will get passed on to other generations. So three spring books, and then we'll move on. This is really sweet. It's called Beatrix Potter's Gardening Life, the plants and places that inspired the classic children's tales. I mean, how sweet is that? But you have these amazing images, and it's just really sweet. It gives you a better view of how she grew up and became an author and artist. Look at this one. And it's just full of really spring-inspired images too. So love this one. It's a great one just to page through. This one, you know, I tend to buy books and then sometimes I forget about them. I picked this one up at the Abbaye bookshop in Paris last spring, and I never got around to reading it, so I really wanted to take the time to do it. It's called Spring Cannot Be Cancelled. David Hockney in Normandy by Martin Gayford. Here it is again. It was a bit of an investment for me, but the interesting thing is that it's just also full of beautiful artwork too. And okay, this is something that I do. Okay, so when I buy a book, if I've done something interesting recently, then I'll put if I'm in Paris, the day trip ticket in and the billet for the ticket for what I did. And so apparently I was at Malmaison around the time that I purchased this book. During COVID and lockdown and how that impacted the artist, and I'll let you look it up, but that's on my reading list. Now, the last one I want to share with you is this one. I love pretty books. I like pretty books. So this is one for you, okay? This is called The Country Diary. The Country Diary. I mean, right? Just that. Of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. It is a charming portrait of the English countryside. It is an edition of Edith Holden's original 1906 diary, filled with exquisite watercolor paintings and delightful observations of the changing seasons. Let's not stay too heavy on the negative part, but I'll tell you what happened. They showed up really late in the day, which is already a red flag warning for contractors here in France. Most of them want to show up between 8:30 and 9. They showed up around 1 o'clock in the afternoon after multiple delays and me calling, asking where they were going to be at. And when they arrived, they said that they'd take 3 hours, and they were still here after 8 p.m., which is pitch dark here. Long story short, I went out during the part of the process in the evening, and they were reinstalling the drywall over the old installation.
the old insulation that had been water damaged from the storm had rat feces, mice feces in it, mold, and the next day when I could see everything during the daytime, it was just a mess. They didn't screw down the new roof panels correctly. It's flopping in the wind. The whole entire drywall inside was just horribly done. So the lesson that I want to share with you is that if you have to do something like this with your insurance company, in France, you have the right, I just learned this, you have the right to choose your own contractor, okay? I didn't understand that because I haven't gone through something like this before. And my insurance company, the claims adjuster, assigned the contractor to me. So long story short, again, if you have a situation like this, please make sure that you understand that you have the right in France to choose your own contractor. So last but not least, let's talk about the road trip. So on Friday, I will let you know where we're going. It is a 16-day trip. Yeah, I'm counting them up. I've got 5 different series that I'm releasing this year, and the road trip that I'm taking you on is one that I'm in the process of still filming and putting together. So this is a little different for you because for those of you who've been around for a while, I often tour you around and show you a lot of what I'm actually doing. That's not going to be the case this time. This is going to be more behind the scenes, just the process of what I'm doing and letting you in a little bit. So I don't know how long these daily vlogs are going to be. I think they're going to be a bit on the short side because it's so much work for me. I mean, really long days for 16 days. But I think it will be fun for you to see what's going on and get you excited about this new series I'm creating just for you. Stay tuned. Friday, we leave. I'll let you know where I'm going. Feel free to guess, though, in the meantime. A great day, darlings. Thank you so much for all of your feedback so far, for any suggestions you have for me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bisous. Happy Thursday, folks. All right, so here's the deal. It is absolutely miserable outside. It is so stormy, and of course, with high winds, my power goes out. So I don't know when you might be getting this update. Let's hope today. I'm going to keep it short because I'm super jam-packed trying to get everything ready to leave for tomorrow. I'm going to show you a couple packing tips. It's just what I do. You probably already do something similar, but hey, I'll show it to you anyway. And I'm going to show you some of my pretty flowers out front the house, because I keep showing you the ones around the greenhouse, but I have actually a whole entire garden beds out front, plus my elevated rose garden. So there you have it. That's what we're doing today. Bisous, bisous. Let's get started. Why is my headscarf different? Well, because I was talking just a little bit ago with Mimi of Joie de Vivre TV, and I was looking out my living room window. I was talking to her, and with the storm that's going on, not only is my power out, but the whole entire roof now is lifting up in a way, like Dorothy, Wizard of Oz style, blowing away in the wind. And so my car is in the direct path of all of that. So I panicked and got off the phone and moved my car and the lawnmower. But then in the process of all that, my scarf blew away. So here we are back to square one. Still don't have power, so it's a little dark, but hey, this is what we get. This is real life right now, okay? So let's just pretend none of this is happening, and we're just going to move on. And I know that thanks, you guys really want to know what's going on with the contractor. And so, yeah, somehow that part of that story got cut off yesterday, but don't worry, it'll be in the YouTube story. So the drama continues. Let's play with our clothes. Okay, so the premise of this packing tip isn't necessarily for those who like to pack light and in small bags. I mean, you could certainly do this, but that's not the point of this packing trip or this trip in general, because I'm going to be filming a lot, so I need lots of different outfits. But I'm going to show you how I kind of start and then build out a wardrobe for travel. I usually pick one piece that I really love, that fits on me, that I love how it looks. It's, you know, good for the season. And for this one, it's this dress. Like, I'm going to be wearing this a lot in the spring and autumn. And you guys know, like, for those of you who've been around for a while, I'm not the girly that, you know, is going to have different outfits all the time for you. Like, I don't believe in that. I think that with the environment and waste and everything, like, we all need to promote just adding some really cool investment pieces every once in a while, classic stuff, but just like lay off of the, especially for influencers and content creators, the feeling that we need to change our outfits every time that you see me. Like, no. I love my clothes and I'm going to rewear them. And so sometimes multiple years, like for those of you who've been around a while, you know, like my wisteria dress and stuff like that, like my Sandro coat, y'all love it. I wear the heck out of it. This is a dress that I think I'm going to be wearing a lot. I just purchased this off of Zara. Okay, so you can still get this. It comes with a belt, but I took it off because I didn't like the quality of the belt. But this just wears well. It's got nice wider sleeves. This is a small, by the way. And it's got lots of give, but I can belt it in. It's got the cool pockets. I love the little button detail right here, like the little gold. It's very classy, right? So let me show you how, like, so what I start with is one piece like this, right? That I know I really want to focus on taking. This has to come. So how many ways can I style this? This is just some examples. So the first way I'm going to style it is kind of go like hunter jumper classic, right? I've got this kind of cool scarf here with some brown tones in it, and I'm going to really elevate it with this belt, you know, bring that in, tie it up really nice, and some really nice heels to go with that, right? So that's look number one. But you don't have to wear it like a dress. You can kind of wear it like a coat or open it up like a tunic. So I would open this up down the bottom, right? So you got some more movement down here. And then I'm going to add in a lot of color. And these pants underneath, right? So they kind of just show off at the bottom. If I unbutton this a little bit, you're going to see these pants as I walk. So it acts more like a tunic at that point with lots of color. So that's another version of it. Now let's go monochrome. For a look like this, I wouldn't want to add a lot of accessories other than just maybe some, you know, jewelry. We're looking for kind of like a very classic elevated look. So I would then open this all the way up and then use it more of like a long sort of dress coat sort of thing, and add in the white jeans and a white top, completely monochrome from top to bottom, with some really nice heels or elevated flats. And then the last piece would be going same sort of style, leave it all the way open, but do jeans and then like a cute lacy tank top underneath. This is kind of a little bit, you know, on the edge of being too light for this time of spring, but I am intentionally doing that because I want the aesthetic of some of my filming to be more spring heavy, even though the weather doesn't want to cooperate. It looks like the forecast is not going to be all that great. And then, you know, I will bring a very versatile coat, so I can always put that on as an additional layer to all of that. So what we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different outfits at least off of just that one piece. So, you know, that's kind of like what I'm looking for, is like just first play with that core piece, and then how many different versions can I get off of it? And then from that, then now I take I'm going to be bringing the jeans. So now I need to use this to build off of. How many pieces, what can I do with that? I'm going to be bringing this, right? These white jeans. So how many, how can I build off of this now, right? And then this I'm probably going to be using, also doubling as just around the house after hours. So there is how I start to build out some of my wardrobe. Now, caveat, if I start finding that the piece isn't that versatile, it requires a lot of bulky things to make it, kind of feel full, or there's like one pair of shoes that I'll work with and it doesn't go with anything else. That's when I'm just like, you know what, maybe you stay home. You're not versatile enough for this particular trip. So there is that. That's how I start in building out my travel wardrobe. And I hope you found that helpful. Let's go. I'm going to show you the flowers now. And today is turning into quite the interesting one. And I am so far behind. So, bisous, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. So far, I'm not seeing any black spot on them, and they all seem so happy and healthy. Wow. The lilac is starting to bloom. Oh no. Shiny. So shiny the leaves are. Hey, you. You said you wanted to go for a road trip, right? Okay, cool. But we're already here. Oh, hey. You want to know where you're at? You're in the Loire Valley. And this is where you're staying. Pretty crazy, isn't it? That's right, folks. For the next 2 weeks, we will be traveling in the Loire Valley, home to some of the most majestic and stunning castles, landscapes, and gardens in all of France. I'm going to take you along for behind-the-scenes access as I have the pleasure and privilege to work on some of the most amazing projects I have yet had the opportunity to. Our journey starts tomorrow. Merci and bon weekend, everyone.